Hi, captains. Welcome back to the deck. Isaac here, community developer for Skull and Bones, and today we are finally taking you through our plans for the year 3 and what comes next in the game. And to walk you through it, I am joined by Nia today, as always, our senior lead artist on Skull and Bones, who'll be giving us a closer look at what's coming in year 3, season 1, as he has his hands-on on the latest preview build. Hi, Nia. How are you doing today?
Hi. I'm doing great.
What are you looking forward to most in year 3 season 1?
Just see what has changed in terms of the UI, and also check the what Ascensions, and of course the new ships.
Cool. And I'm also joined by Alexi today.
Hello, how are you?
Hello, good. How are
Hi,
you?
Neo. I'm good, thank you.
How are you feeling today about the stream?
I'm very good. I hope Neo didn't just spoil all the content we're about to talk about. But
Hope so. All right. So before we dive into all the details, Alexi, maybe could you give us a quick overview of what's the team approach for the year 3?
yeah, of course. So as we approach the end of year 2, and obviously a lot of things have happened, right? Once again, we've learned a lot from the community feedback that we gather on a weekly basis, but also from the way our players interact with the game.
Yeah.
And before I let our designers go into the details of everything they've been working on, anything they're planning for year 3, we felt maybe it was important to give a bit more context on the direction we're taking for the game, and also why. So summarizing our first 2 years of Skull and Bones, essentially since launch, the team has been working really hard and really focused on expanding the initial following that the game had at launch. So with each season, we brought new ships, new equipment, new activities to engage with, new systems, and also a lot of improvements to allow players to further customize their ships and better engage with the content the game had to offer, right? And I think this focus has proven to deliver very encouraging results. We've had more players in year 2 than we had in year 1, for example, which is very positive for the game. But it also highlighted that the core mechanics of the game also needed us to kind of revisit it a little bit and do some major improvements on how they function, essentially, right? So we feel like it's time for us to address some of the ongoing concerns from the community on that aspect, and we feel like it's important that we refocus on the core gameplay for the long-term benefit of the game. So without spoiling, I think these can be summarized in 2 very broad categories. Essentially, we want to look at the way players increase their power throughout the season by playing the game, and also make sure that we find ways to expand on the variety of content and the variety of challenges that the game has at all times available for players. So again, the designers will share more details to explain all of this, but essentially we want to really refocus, like I said, on the core gameplay. And the core gameplay is, and has always been for Skull and Bones, it's naval combat.
Yep.
So yeah, we've experimented with a few different things throughout year 1 and year 2, and sometimes we drifted a little bit away from the core naval gameplay. But this year we really want to refocus on that aspect and make sure that we bring Skull and Bones, or we bring to Skull and Bones everything we can for it to fulfill its full potential as a naval action RPG, essentially. So yeah, I won't say more for now. I think the designers will explain all of this a lot better than me. But yeah, hopefully as they explain what they're working on, you'll understand what I meant by those 2 key categories.
Yes, exactly. And thank you so much for this breakdown, Alexi. I'm seeing the chat. A lot of people are mentioning the drops. We're looking into this at the moment, but today, the main thing here is to year 3 reveal, right? So now we've set the direction, but now let's look at what's actually coming in year 3. All right, chat. So that was our first look at what's coming year 3. I see some excitement in the chat already. So new progression systems, new ships, tougher challenges, and more ways to shape your own playstyle. But more important, everything that you've just seen in the trailer is actually reflects in year 3 direction, is the doubling down on what makes Skull and Bones unique, it's naval combat. So we'll go into more details later down the stream, but now we're gonna start with the big one. The biggest changes coming this year is a seasonal mastery, and I am joined by Samuel Quick to talk about it today.
Hello.
Hi Sam, how are you
Hi.
doing?
I'm doing great. Hi everyone. Quite excited to be here to share more about what's coming in a game with everyone.
Yep. So Sam, starting from the year 3, players will unlock seasonal mastery, right? After reaching Kingpin Infinite. Before we get into how it works, maybe you can share what's the main goal behind the team introducing this new feature.
Okay. So when we look at what we want to provide and tackle some of the key issues in the game every season, there's a few things that stood out to us. One is what is a relevant challenge for players in the game, as well as the reward of progression, how players are actually playing every season, what do they look forward to, right? And in the end, also how much content is actually playable for a player within a season. So with this in mind, we went towards redesigning how a lot of the game is being approached in terms of how new season is added, how new content is added every season, as well as the system that lets players play content itself. Yeah.
Yep. So those captains will be able to share their own build, right? Around how they want, around their own play style. So now, can you walk us through what this system is and what changes for players once they unlock it in year 3 season 1?
Yep. So, okay, as mentioned earlier, those were the few key aims that we wanted to have. So this is gonna be a bit chunky. There's a lot of things going on at the same time. So first thing first is we're talking about progression. Progression in the game has often been very limited to what is the equipment that a player can get in a season, which oftentimes if there's no new upgrade mechanics or new ship upgrade levels, it's more of a horizontal progression. As a player, when I come in as a captain, I'm fighting stuff, but I don't feel like I'm getting any stronger within a season. And it's just not as satisfying, in terms of looking forward to experiencing new power fantasies every season. So a lot of times, once you obtain the equipment, you'll be like, oh, I'm done. And what's the point of having more equipment if I can already clear everything? So that's the challenge of the game, right? Players have already reached a level of power where that they have defeated everything. Unless we raise the bar again, there is no change in challenge. So that is also another problem that we have. And lastly, is about as you continue to play the season, is there any form of leveling or progression where it's not only getting stronger, but it's also adapting to the play styles, the loadouts that you have? Do we encourage players to try different things every season? Because everything is now based on equipment that you collect and you have it permanently. Is there anything fun that we can let players try every season? What is different about the contents that players play every season? So therefore, we did there's two concepts that come hand in hand. We have seasonal mastery, where players, after they have reached Kingpin, they are able to continue earning infamy, which is generally anything that they do in the game, right? You can just play and have fun, enjoy any content that you like. You'll be leveling up. So with this mastery levels that you earn, you'll be able to get points that you can sink into the skill tree as seen on the screen, that you can actually fine-tune and push stats for your ships to go up to higher power levels accordingly. And then where players get to use these higher power levels will be the new seasonal world tiers that we're introducing in world tier 3 and 4. So there's an important thing where these two work hand in hand, is because you get higher SRs with seasonal mastery.
Mm-hmm.
And the world tiers that we introduce will have new affixes every season, and therefore players will need to experience them together with the increasing SR and understand, okay, this is the gimmicks, the combat mechanics, and go up. And then when they fight, they will, oh, hey, I have new seasonal perks this time. So seasonal perks will be new effects that players can also unlock via the mastery tree. We have 9 of them in 3 groups of 3, where they will change every season to be themed both with, you know, what is the flavor of the affixes that we talked about. So they might give different play styles a highlight, allow you to use combinations of equipment that previously you know, you don't experience. So for example, in Year 3 Season 1, we have some perks that actually allow players to pay for more firepower for every shot with their ship health. We have some effects that allow players to actually get stronger the more enemies that are around them. Things like that. So it's really giving players all the levers that they want to interact and create the playstyle of their dreams, you know, what equipment you like.
Great. And actually, I think over the last streams, we've got some questions from players about the ship perk selection during the last stream, right? So they wanted to use their favorite ships in the roles that they enjoy. And actually, maybe you can, how does the seasonal mastery actually help players by giving more freedom in choosing their own play style? Maybe you can give us some examples.
So for the seasonal mastery itself, there are 2 main portions as described earlier. We have a seasonal perk section, so that is a much smaller group. Is the 9 perks that will change every season. But players can mix and match. Players will have a choice of three perks, 1 per group, to see what works for them with their equipment loadout. So this is something that changes every season. So this is where they have the variety and to experience new things and try out new combinations. The rest of the tree itself is where we allow players to fine-tune the stats of their ship. So this is like stat points that they can use to tailor to their loadouts, or what they want to specialize more in, or what shortcomings they're feeling in their current loadout as they progress the world tiers. So world tiers 3 and 4 have much higher SRs. All of these nodes are giving stats, and players will actually be have the feedback of their SRs rising, so they understand where they stand in relation to the challenge that they can take on. So for example, all these stats are distributed in key aspects. So we have a segment that is dedicated to weapon attack power. We have some segments that are dedicated to passive defense. You like your high armor rating, you like to be able to just be there and soak up hits without worrying too much about bracing, is available. Or if you are someone who, you know, very into bracing, you know, you like active defense, that's how you survive, those nodes are also available. You have a basilisk that is fully ascended with 3 different elements on it. Maybe you want to invest more into the elemental damage tree, because so all of these different nodes that you find, different loadouts and different captains can get different mileage out from them. So that's how the skill tree actually leans towards what players do with their loadouts.
And so it's launching in Year 3 Season 1, right? This is the new feature, but how the team is going to evolve this feature beyond the Year 3 Season 1?
So beyond Year 3 Season 1, of course, as previously mentioned, there will be changes to the seasonal perks, but we have a lot of other content that is not just content, systems that are being worked on. Maybe, you know, how would the future of combat look like in Skull and Bones? Like maybe Combat 2.0. So those will also affect relevant stats that players need to tune and push around in. Be it the elemental system, how statuses interact with one another. We're also looking at things like how to, you know, further refine into ship size differentiation and specialties. So all of this will be paired together with the evolution of the mastery tree itself, and that's how it goes. So the mastery tree will always keep itself um, up to up to whatever is the level of combat that we want in the game. What are all the players? How you engage with fighting enemies, especially. So when there are new challenges, that's also where you can look for masteries that work with them.
Right. Right. So you've already mentioned briefly the new challenges, right? The new world tier. So with the skill tree, there's this power progression, players customizing their ship, the roles based on their own preferred playstyle. But which means that the world around them is evolving too, right? So this is where world tier 3 and 4 come in. So maybe you can break it down more to us.
Yep. So world tier 3, as we mentioned, that's where we are introducing the concept of seasonal world tiers. World tier 3 is where players first experience seasonal affixes. So seasonal affixes is an additional way of refreshing content and challenge for players in the game, without just doing a flat power creep, like just making numbers bigger. So yes, World Tier 3 just does start at a higher SR. Players will need to level up, but they are doing this because they are also experiencing the new affixes. So for example, we have some pretty cool affixes. We have enemies that are protected by an armored layer, where you have to break this armor by ramming into them. So that's like one of the key gimmicks, that you have to solve in combat with such enemies. So you might be seeing the same ships or the elites on the previous world tier, but every season, every time, due to all the changing affixes, the way you approach them is different, right? So we have new seasonal perks as well. So we are pairing all these seasonal perks and seasonal affix challenges so that the same enemies always have a different flavor to them. There's a little something that's different that gives players more reason to also play a different build this time around, because like when will my ramming brigantine ever shine? It never comes to the forefront. So this is another way for us to make sure that we always refresh challenges. And not only that, the new seasonal world tiers also add improvements to reward layers. We heard what captains have been asking for.
Right.
Starting from world tier 3, deep iron will be dropping from the domains. Starting from world tier 3 is also where we are introducing another type of reward or ascension on weapons. So that is where you will start seeing mythic mods dropping, as well as that's where you can obtain the materials to craft your own mythic ascension on the blacksmith. So this is how it works out. As we go on, we will see more unique activities and reward layers being added to World Tier 4 as well.
Great. And for the players looking for even a higher level of challenges, right? World Tier 3 and 4 are part of it, but also Year 3 later down the road will introduce new experiences, right? That we call them the Abyss and then the Trials. So can you walk us through what these challenges are and what kind of experience players can expect once they reach that level of progression?
Yeah. So a lot of the key focus now, is about being able to express your loadouts and push power limits, further and refine. If you are very, how do I say it, committed, to a specific playstyle, and you know how to push all the levers, that is how players, get to clear very high level contents or show where they're good at. But nothing in the game right now actually gives a clear feedback for players or even sets up specific challenges each time. So Trials is coming in a form. It will be a content that will be recurring, where every season there'll be a specially curated challenge for players, where they need to, craft a new loadout for it, or think about how they need to play to be able to clear this challenge. And on top of that, that's where we are actually allowing players to show how good they are by having rankings available, and these rankings are purely driven by skill, not it's not driven by any layer of grind at all. So if you see anyone, you know, going onto the ranking board and with a score is 100% due to their skill at clearing it. It's not about how many times you clear it, it's how good you can clear it. Of course, we want this event trials, you know, is not a very exclusive content. Everyone will still be able to play it, but we have added an extra layer where players also get to show off how good they are. So that's the whole concept of trials, right? For the Abyss will be how do I call it? It's targeted at also bringing like the accumulation of what we have been letting players experience. You know, ship combat. I like to be able to fight things, you know, and we want to put it all into an experience that feels also more like an expedition, rather than very isolated world events right now. Oh, I enter this, I fast travel there, I kill a world event, it's done. I move on, I find the next loot. There's nothing really chaining them together. So the Abyss is gonna be a very new way to experience both the world as well as how gameplay moments go from one to the other.
And a lot of this, so we've shared a lot about power progression, right? The difficulty scaling, and it's all again reflects the main focus for Skull and Bones, that is naval combat, right? And a lot of this was tested actually, right, with the player base before. And I want to go back to the skill tree. So when we tested the skill tree with the insiders, we've got a lot of feedback, right? So for example, that it, like when you just open the skill tree, it's looked a bit too overwhelming, right, with a lot of nodes and stuff. So I want to ask just how the team is approaching the feedback that we got from the players during the feedback phase.
Yep. So there will definitely be a learning curve to it, but we're also making sure that we don't run the seasonal mastery tree, the skill tree itself, in a way that is confusing season to season. It's something that should feel familiar to players. Where the stats are located, we also group them into segments. So after a while, your players will be able to notice, you know, you're gonna be leveling up gradually. We're not dumping a full 80 skill points at once. So as you start to, okay, I'm gonna start putting in the few points that I have, then it should be a very gradual step towards also understanding like, oh, all the stats that I need to survivability is on the left side. Or I want to do more damage, I go towards the top side. You know, so these segments are clearly marked out, and also we made it very easy to experiment, or rather, we took away any form of punishment if you want to experiment around. Like you can reset any of the points that you put in for free. This was a very, very clear point that we did. Like we do not want to make it a chore, or rather punish people, players, for trying like, hey, if I don't know which one works better, if my loadout is node A better than node B, sure, you can try both of them out. There's no penalty at all. You can reset and just switch over to the other effect, set sail again, and all that. So this is something that we designed it intentionally. And over time, you know, we also have other QoLs that other Sam will share later, that will also make this process easier later down the road.
Right. And do you want to take some questions from the chat at the moment? Let's see if there are any questions regarding the skill tree, the world tier that was just we've covered.
Yeah. I saw one that I would like to assure everyone. We had a game, and then we started with world tiers 1 and 2, and then, you know, we had that, and then now in year 3 suddenly there's world tiers 3 and 4. We are not going down the path of adding infinite world tiers, but we at the same time we had to add 3 and 4 on top of world tier 2, because as mentioned, the progression that we are moving away from was one where it necessitated us to add new world tiers just to have higher, power creep or progression, as we'll call it. But that's why the new world tiers that we added together with the mastery system, and why they had to reset every season, is meant to prevent us from having to keep putting layers of world tier again and again just for upward increase in numbers. So just because we reset some, the mastery progression is it comes together with the aspect that players will be able to experiment different seasonal perks. So we are not just moving in a point of ever growing numbers. Yes, numbers will grow big, but it's because you get to experience different mechanics and gameplay. Likewise, on the world tiers, the seasonal affixes, gameplay challenges would change. Right? So that's that. PvP world tier, stay tuned. Who knows? Abyss. I don't know.
All right. There was a question, I think, regarding the skill. Is the skill tree ship by ship or just total account? Was the question.
So the skill tree is by your account. So it is not you don't have to redo it for every single ship. But there's also more features in the way that allow you to set a skill tree, assign it to a ship, or make quick switching easily. But the skill tree organically is just for your whole captain. So if you don't make any changes to it, the same existing buffs for it will apply for any ship. The mastery levels that you earned stay with you, so you don't have to regrind mastery on another ship.
So I think there was a question also related to just what you said now, right? Why skill tree are not tied to ships? So you can really tailor our ships in a lot of replayability.
Yeah. So when we say not tied to ships, it just means that you don't have to reassign the points. The different types of nodes that you have allow you to change them according to what ship you want to play. So that's what I mean by not tied, as in you don't have to change a ship and then, oh no, I have to earn the mastery points all over again because it's a different ship.
Yep. And all right, so I think we've covered quite a lot, and it's a lot of complex information for the players. So I think you guys can take time to digest all, and we will be hosting an AMA tomorrow with the same devs to give you more details and answer your questions on Reddit. So stay tuned for more information on this one. But besides the year tree is not just about new challenges and power progression, it's also about focusing on the core gameplay. So this is where the quality of life updates come in. So we have quite a few quality of life improvements lined up for the year tree, and I'm sure many of you will be excited about. But before we dive into the details of it, let's look at what quality of life updates coming in year tree season 1. All right, so as we just saw in year 3 season 1, a bigger fleet size, ship loadout page improvement, and we also know that the Mythic mods is coming. And Sam has joined me today for the stream to walk you guys through these updates. So Sam, can you share a bit more details about quality of life changes coming in year 3 season 1?
Yep, so like what Asha mentioned, we are trying to ensure that the core gameplay is refocused back on ships, right? So anything related to naval combat, anything related to items, related to loadouts and how the person can really customize all of their ships, that's where we're going to refocus all of the quality of life on. So there are things that have been already in the works for quite some time, and a lot of us on the dev team has been spending quite a bit of time on delivering some of these as well. So I'll share a little bit on what you can expect. Do note that this is not exhaustive and things are also subject to change, but as part of this dev stream, we just want to kind of show you what we have already work in progress, just to give you a bit of sneak peek of what's going on. So the first thing that we are going to deliver for year 3 season 1 and also progressively throughout year 3 is an increased fleet size. So that's something that players have been asking for, and it did take a bit of time for us to really implement and ensure that all of the technical checks are done, servers don't explode, the game is stable, and people don't lose their items and people don't lose their ships. But we're glad to announce that we are increasing the fleet size to 50 starting year 3 season 1. We'll be additionally increasing that fleet size by 5 each season. So in year 3 season 2, that will be 55, and then subsequently 60 and 65. And although we are releasing 1 new ship per season, as always, what we want to try and allow players to do is to create variants, create different play styles, and try out different loadouts. So in year 3 season 1, we released the Galleon. The Galleon is a DPS ship, but there are more than one way. There's more than one way than that you can play DPS. Are you more interested in creating more status effects build? Are you interested in creating a more demi-cannon build or covering build? That's for you to explore. And so with the additional 5 per season and also 10 additional ones in year 3 season 1, you no longer have to consider whether or not you want to sacrifice one of your helm ships to allow you to have that variety of gameplay choice. This will also help a little bit on the helm manufacturing side of things, whereby currently you don't have enough ships to assign it all to all manufacturers. So now you can do that a little bit better, and so hopefully that helps on that aspect. And for some players, you might also notice that with 10 extra ships, you can kind of store some equipment there as well. So there's a bit more flexibility in that. The next thing that we have been looking at for quite some time is the topic of item ascension. So item ascension is something that we released in year 2 season 1, and we have been consistently providing new updates like armor ascension, trying to improve the QoL there with the ability to lock mods so that you kind of reroll the values rather than the stats. But there's a lot more that we're working on. So one of the things that's coming in year 3 is Mythic mods. So Mythic mods won't be available. Actually, Mythic mods will be available in year 3 season 1. We're almost there next week. And this is an additional level of item ascension that players can play with. Now, Mythic mods compared to rare and epic level mods is the ability to create some game-changing behavior. So you can kind of pick, do you want a poison mythic mod? Do you want a healing mythic mod? You want an explosive mythic mod? And you can kind of fine-tune that. And one of the key things that we have been looking at in terms of feedback from the past and how that informs our decisions in developing these features is that one of the pieces of feedback was that for each mod, the pool is huge, right? And so players try and reroll, and they can't really hit the mods that they want. And so with Mythic mods, first, you have the choice to pick the mod pool. And in each mod pool, we only feature 2 mods. Now, this allows players to really get the mod that they want with a bit more granularity, and instead spend their rerolls on trying to achieve a higher potential item. So we don't limit the gameplay, we don't limit the play style, but we try and give players more agency in this aspect. Together with this, since we know that players might have used all their reforge attempts, we're increasing the reforge attempt to 100. So what this means is that you can probably spend 2 or 3 rerolls to really get the mods that you want for Mythic mods, and you can use the rest of your rerolls on some of the previous mods, or to increase the values of your mods by locking the mod itself. An additional thing that we are doing for item ascension, apart from just Mythic mods, is we are introducing a pity system. So what this effectively does is that we reduce the chance of you re-rolling the same mod multiple times in a row. So what this means also is that, say if you manage to roll Incendiary, the chance of you getting Incendiary over the next few rolls is much lower compared to the other mods. This means that when you have a fresh equipment and you try and re-roll, the chances of you getting the mods that you want is much higher. It's increased by a lot more, and based on all of our internal testing simulation, we've seen that the amount of pieces of equipment that you really need to get the mods that you want is significantly reduced by a huge amount. And so when players start off in year 3 season 1, they can already try out the pity system, and it's not exactly too visible to a player, but you will definitely feel the difference in getting the mods that you want. So moving on from item ascension, we also do have quite a few improvements and QoL to help players customize their build further, and that's something that we'll progressively do throughout year 3, season 1, season 2, season 3. For the first step in year 3, season 1, our goal was to allow players to really understand their build, customize their build, and look at what areas they can fine-tune their build with. So we know that Sam earlier showed the seasonal mastery,
Right.
and those have a lot of nodes where you have a lot of stats, and sometimes it can be a little bit hard to tell. For example, if I were to increase the bow weapon damage by 10%, how much would that really impact my build? Based on the equipment that I have, based on the mods that I have, on the furniture that I have. And when I go into the equipment screen, how I can kind of tell whether this piece of furniture is relevant to me or not, rather than just looking at the tooltip. So what we have done, if Neo can go to an outpost, is to really show, kind of create that grid on the right side. So now on the ship equipment screen, you can see what equipment you have at a glance, without going into the sub-menus, weapon, armor, furniture. That will give you a decently good picture of what you have equipped. And on the right side, you can kind of see the DPS and the armor resistance of your entire ship on the different broadsides, on the bow, on the stern, and on the auxiliary weapon as well. So when you hover over a furniture that says, for example, increase 10% broadside damage, you can see all your DPS numbers on the 2 broadsides increase accordingly. And that can help players to understand how they can further customize their build to really min-max and achieve the maximum potential for their playstyle. We'll continue to improve on updates. So some other updates that you also see is that now on the equipment screen, when you select your weapon or armor, there are horizontal buttons now. And you can see at a glance, what those perks are, and that helps to allow you to recognize the few pieces of equipment that you really spend the time to upgrade through item ascension. So you can see on the right side of the screen, there's a lot more stat comparisons now. You have green and red, and you can see what increases, what decreases. What we also have is that you can toggle between different modes of the tooltip. So I'm not sure what the button is because it's slightly being blocked there. But you can also have simplified tooltips on these screens. So that can kind of help you compare, for example, in this screen, whether or not one equipment or another piece of equipment is a bit better. So we're really trying to double down on giving players the flexibility, the agency, and the ability to customize and make sure that their build is really strong.
Yes,
Yeah.
and I know that there are even more quality of life improvements are planned for the year 3 in general, right? So one of the few are mod transfer and mastery loadout. So maybe you can share with the community a bit more on these, starting with the mod transfer.
Let's talk about mod transfer. We did say that item ascension is something that we'll continue to build towards and improve, and that's a commitment that we're going to follow through in year 3 as well. So in year 3 season 2, what we're targeting to deliver is this feature called modification transfer, which has been in discussions for quite some time on, how can we ensure that re-rolling and reforging is less frustrating, that players are always constantly trying to build towards an eventual goal and trying to achieve the ultimate form of their loadout. So with mod transfers, you can take a piece of equipment with a really good mod that you want, but maybe the rest of the other mods are poor, or the equipment itself is not something that you want. And you can take the mod from that source and transfer it over to another piece of equipment without consuming the reforged roles. So what this means is that you can progressively always work towards a piece of equipment that you really, really like. So for example, if you have a item that you get from a time-limited event,
Right.
and you have limited copies of that, then these can be the destination pieces of equipment that you take existing mods that you farm in the game, or you find through different drops from enemies, and bring that over and make progress towards that. And that also allows you to have some use for some of the older equipment that it might be sitting in your warehouse for that.
Right. I'm looking at the chat now, and I see players are really having some nice reactions to the overall UI overhaul of the ship rollout page. But besides the modification transfer, so the skill tree is being introduced in Year 3 Season 1, right? And later we're going to introduce the mastery loadouts. So
Yes.
maybe you can cover a bit on that.
Correct. So we will be releasing the seasonal mastery in Year 3 Season 1, and one of the improvements that we are following up on. So this won't be available directly in Year 3 Season 1, but it's work in progress that we are working towards, is the ability to store different loadouts, which allows you to switch between the different presets that you have. Per se. Why this takes a little bit more time in the pipeline rather than delivering it on Year 3 Season 1 is that because we want to establish a good base for the mastery loadouts first. We want to spend the resources to polish and to make sure that it works out well. Things like working on the character sheet comparison on the right side, making sure that all of that is settled and good before we move on to the improvements. We know that that is something that players want. It's something that even through the insider program, that's one of the top requests. And also in the chat earlier, there were a few questions about that. So that will come after Year 3 Season 1. And this allows you to kind of, really compare and make that comparison. Okay, if I were to choose this preset versus that preset, how would that impact my build? And combined with the equipment, that's something that you can really use to min-max your build. We are also looking into how to tie some of these loadouts together with your ship equipment. So like the earlier question, is it tied to a ship? We don't want to force that thing to be tied to a ship. We want to give players the option, give players the freedom to choose, and so you can really just stick to one loadout for the rest of the for the rest of the season, or you can have the ability to switch them quite easily. So we're just providing more choice, more options, and I think that has really been our philosophy when it comes to QoL improvements and UI UX, is how can we improve that user experience, give players options without taking those options away.
Right. And anything else you can share that is coming in Year 3 besides the mod transfer and mastery loadout?
So there are a few more quality of life changes, and again, all of these is subject to change, but and each of them are already in various stages of development, some early on, some a bit more mature. So what we're looking into is, like Sam mentioned earlier, some combat QoL improvements. We want to double down on the naval combat side of things.
Yes.
So when it comes to status effects, for example, how can we ensure that in a group setting, each person can contribute in different amounts towards a bigger effect. And currently now, if one player were to poison an enemy and another player were to poison an enemy, the effect doesn't really stack, right? It kind of stays there, so it's not really enjoyable in that sense. And so we are trying to push the depth of combat a little bit more and explore the concept of stacks. Can we apply multiple stacks? Can poison effect level 1 go to poison effect level 2, and how can this scale across the world tiers as well? So these are some of the combat quality of life improvements. This is not exhaustive, but just to provide and peel back on some of the things that we are working on. We are trying to look into leaderboard updates as well. So like what Sam mentioned, we are going to have trials for each season, which is a curated challenge. And we want players to be able to compete with each other in the sense of, can I clear, how many levels of the trial can I clear? And that would feature a leaderboard component as well. So we're looking forward to players trying to, again, come back to the leaderboards and being the top. and we're quite excited about that feature in general. Some of the other QoL improvements that we are looking into are larger party sizes. So that has been a area of feedback, especially in Year 2 Season 3, where we released Mythic La Peste, in Year 2 Season 4, where we released the Kraken. Players want to be able to interact with more players than just 3. And really, frankly, 3 was quite an arbitrary number when we launched the game, but it's something that we're finally looking into to ensure that you can come up with a party with more than just 3 players, and you can engage in content together. So that's kind of to bring players together to enjoy naval combat together. We continue with a lot more UI UX improvements. So one of the things that I shared earlier was the character sheet and the comparisons. There are more things in the works, like sort and filter, being able to view even more details about your ship rather than just a panel on the right side, to give players the full visibility of what their ship can do, and a lot more other World Tier Plus improvements. So in Year 3 Season 1, we released 2 new World Tiers. We are continuing to deliver on some of the extra content and the extra features to continue supporting this throughout Year 3 as well. And maybe the last thing that I'll share in terms of QoL improvements is that we are looking into content. So we've spent a lot of time to look at how we can grow the player power progression and give players the flexibility. But one of the things that players also want is being able to have new pieces of content and have new challenges. So Trials is going to be one of the things that is seasonal, that will come in Year 3 to challenge players. But what we want to also do is take a look at our existing content. How can we elevate the AI in our game and the challenges in our game to provide a new level and a new dimension of challenge? So one of the things that we are looking at quite an early to mid stage is to allow some of those behaviors, AI behaviors, to change as their ship ranks increase. So today, a ship rank 10 and a ship rank 30 La Peste is going to be fairly similar in terms of behavior, and that's no secret. We increase the damage, we increase the health, things like fire rate. Those are basic parameters that we can kind of tweak. But what we want to try and do is so that introduce things like, when you fight a level 20 La Peste, now it has a new attack, now it has a new weapon, now it changes its behavior. So it forces players to kind of think in a more complex level on how you formulate new strategies to fight existing bosses as well. So it's not just new content that we want to deliver on a seasonal basis, but we will also want to make sure that we re-engage players with the existing content to make the game feel fresh again for veteran players.
Right. I want to take this time a bit to ask the chat what's their overall impression of Quality of Life updates, and if you have any questions regarding this specific topic, feel free to drop them in the chat now. I think Sam can take some couple questions from the chat. But before we dive into the questions, one last thing they want to discuss today is the Faction War, right? So Faction War was introduced in Year 3 as one of the bigger additions into the game. So what are we doing with Faction War? What improvements are on the way, and how the team is going to evolve this future?
So Faction War is something that we introduced in Year 2, and it's something that we continue to maintain and continue to grow. And players, one of the top things that we have seen in terms of feedback was, can we have new factions, right? And because that so far it has been company versus DMC, and players want to see something new, and we too want to see something new. We want to see new factions join the fray, how the different factions start to interact with each other, and so that we can get fresh new cosmetics, and we can also get a taste of how those factions interact with each other. So yes, indeed, there will be new factions coming in Year 3. Stay tuned. We will review them in due time.
Yep. And as we've always mentioned, this is the feature that we're going to be still iterating on along development. So now, Sam, do you see any questions that you want to take from the chat? One thing I want to mention about the drops, I see people mention that we might end the stream before you guys got it. So the stream, I think, is going to be left for another hour. Even though we finished earlier, we will leave it rolling so you can get your drops. So no worries on that. And thank you so much for patience before we fix the drops. But Sam, any questions that you want to take in now?
I'll take one of the comments, because I briefly mentioned about the fleet size increase, and of course the next question would be, can we increase storage? And that's something that is recurring. As I mentioned earlier, we did take a bit of time to ensure the stability of our game. And I'll take a quick sidetrack here to kind of mention that a lot of our effort in Year 3 Season 1 development, when it comes to prioritizing features and bugs, was also spending a lot of time to make sure that the game is technically stable. We have seen that there's been a bit of degradation in the past few weeks for Year 2 Season 4 that has been fixed. And we're continuing to ensure that a lot of the player reported bugs are also fixed. So in Year 3 Season 1, you have a lot of bug fixes on that aspect. In that same vein, when we deliver something new or when we make an improvement, we also want to make sure that it doesn't break anything. The worst thing that could happen if we were to make a change is that, okay, players start losing ships, and that's not something that we remotely want. So we did take the due diligence to spend the time to make sure that, okay, when we have an increase in fleet sizes, we can transfer things properly. It doesn't become laggy. Our online backend can handle it. The servers will still survive. And so there's really a lot of technical checks and to ensure that these are stable before we launch. For storage and for items, that is a new level of complexity in terms of scope, because any transaction when it comes to just transferring items, just storing items, gaining items, players do this on a very, very regular basis due to the nature of the game. And we want to just be extra careful to make sure that those checks are done. So we are still in the process of making sure that we perform our due diligence and making sure that all of these things are technically cleared and tested and retested and then tested again to make sure that we are ready to increase the storage limit. But it's not something that's forgotten. It's not something that's in the backlog. It's something that we are actively working on to make progress towards that. But it does take time, so do bear with us on that aspect.
Great. I see a lot of questions in the chat. Said that we are not able to answer all of them, but again, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be hosting an AMA tomorrow on Reddit. So make sure to join us and get your answer on all the questions. So Sam, thank you so much for all this breakdown. We've talked a lot about seasonal progression now and core gameplay, and I've seen in the chat people are asking about where's the Galleon, and of course nothing else defines Skull and Bones more than the ship themselves, right? And before we jump into the next segment and next guest, and yes, it's not gonna be Samuel again for the next guest, Skull and Bones, we know that Skull and Bones is all about the feeling of naval mastery at the helm of your ship, right? So in Year 3, your fleet is getting larger, stronger, and more diverse. So now, before we move to the next segment, let's take a look at the Year 3 ships lineup. All right, so this was your first look into all the ships coming, not all actually, the ships coming in Year 3. We've already shared a few teas of the Galleon, and we're seeing a lot of reactions on it. And today we're finally diving deeper into it. So to help us with that, I'm joined by Jeremy Chu. Hi, Jeremy.
Hi, everyone. Good to be back.
How are you feeling today?
Sorry, I'm not another Samuel, so I booked the street.
So, Jeremy, let's start here. Let's start with the Galleon. So since the Galleon was already announced on our socials, maybe you can give more details about its role, perks, and the vision behind its design.
Right. So the Galleon is our third large ship, of course. And we designed it to fill the DPS role and accompany the frigate, which is the tank, and the corvette, which is the support playstyle. So we really envisioned the Galleon as this towering battlefield presence. It's meant to excel at close-range combat, where it can fully leverage all of its gun ports to deliver devastating firepower. So we wanted to challenge the convention with the large ship layout. We've had 2 decks for pretty much all our ships, which is why with the Galleon, we're doing something new and introducing 2 lower decks. So this is going to give it a total of 17 gun ports on its port and starboard broadside. So that's really a lot of firepower, really going to reinforce its identity as a close quarters brawler with a very distinctive firing profile. We really want it so that when the Galleon fires, everyone nearby is going to be able to see that. Yeah. So both of its perks are really going to play into this. The perks Iron Thunder and Red Wake is going to further support this playstyle by granting damage bonus first at close range, but also trying to encourage a hit and run maneuver approach where the players can actually build damage bonuses when not reloading weapons over time and go for strategic burst damage engagements.
Right, and maybe we can show some of the Galleon gameplay, asking Neo, because I think a lot of people were asking about it in the chat. If you can put a gameplay on the screen. Yes, that's the beauty. All right, so while we're looking at the Galleon gameplay, we know that the Galleon is only the beginning, right, Jeremy? So with more ships coming across year 3, but before we talk about them, when it comes to the ship roles and ship identity, what is the vision of the team moving forward for the ships?
Right. So for year 3, it's quite straightforward for us. Our ship vision really is to continue focusing on closing any playstyle gaps, but also giving players more freedom, more variety to play with, especially now that with things like new weapons, new furniture, of course, with each season, and the seasonal mastery coming in. We really want to give you all of the tools to be able to like craft the most interesting, most expressive and unique builds. Yeah. And we're also exploring different ship size dynamics. Like I think both of the Samuels have said, we really want to reinforce the naval combat bits. So we're not just looking into just plugging the gaps here, but also making sure that we fix some of the problems that we might have had before. So we're actually still going to be paying attention to things like even taking a look at some of our older ships, making sure they keep up to par, and even trying to find ways to make small and medium ships stand out again now that we have all these large behemoths or large ships coming about.
Right, and as I mentioned already, Galleon is only the beginning, and if we can share a second ship that will be joining the lineup, and if you can share more about this.
Yep, so for Year 3 Season 2, we'll be featuring the Junk. The Junk is the next ship that's going to be making its way to the Indian Ocean. It's going to be our next large DPS ship, and it's going to be, of course, of Oriental design. It's really meant to be an unstoppable force of firepower, pun intended. And its perks will really be built around the Ablaze status effect, about applying this to as many targets as possible, dealing bonus damage to the targets afflicted by it. Yep. So basically becoming your own Li Tianning in a sense.
Cool. And when it comes to the next ship, we're having our 5th large ship, right? So if you can break down a bit more on that one.
Right. So besides just Year 3 Season 2, for the rest of the year, we're not set on a fixed schedule, but we are still working on quite a few more ship designs in the background. And right now we have 3 main ships that we're exploring, and good news to, I guess, people looking for variety, it will be one of each ship size. Yeah. So to start with the large ship, we have the Fluyt. So I think this is a ship that players have seen in the Indian Ocean and has always wanted to own one of their own, so we'll be excited to bring it. It's going to be a large support ship that's built around the concept of reinforcing allies, helping at shielding your teammates and keeping them survivable throughout the fight. Yeah, with things like trials on the horizon, the idea of the abyss coming in, I think this is going to be even more important to add some variety and really help keep your teammates alive, even in the higher world tiers as well. Yeah.
Right.
For the medium ship, we are actually looking at the Granado, and the Granado is going to be a medium DPS bombardier that's going to excel on really looking at things like AoE explosions, use of bombards, kind of as the namesake suggests. For this ship, we're actually exploring some more radical ideas. I won't lock us into anything yet, but we're considering things like potentially featuring a top deck only configuration to really play into that fantasy of the history of the ship, where it, instead of using like long guns, culverins and the traditional cannons, they really play into firing bombs from afar. Yeah, so that's something we're looking into, but maybe it won't confirm yet. And finally, for the small ship, this is specifically for you, Lightning. So I saw you in the chat complaining about how we don't have a Lightning ship. Like I said, we really want to fill the gaps. So the third ship that we're looking at is going to be the Dangia. And right now we're positioning it as going to be the Lightning element ship. Yeah. So this is going to be a small ship. And although it's early in the works, we really want this ship to feature perks that are tied to dealing lightning damage to the storm strike effect. So that's kind of what we're looking at playing around with at the moment. the exact order of when these ships are going to be released isn't the order that I said. We're kind of working on all these in parallel, and of course we'll find which opportunities, which seasons are best to drop each of these ships.
Yes. So now, Chad, that you've seen all the ships that are lined up for the year 3, what's your favorite one? And I think my question is going to be the same for Jeremy. Which ship are you looking forward the most?
So I do. For me, it's going to be. To be honest, I'm going to align with Lightning Soul here. I've always wanted a lightning ship, and I'm kind of a fan of small ships. I mean, everyone's going on with the large ships. I mean, I've played a fair amount of Corvette myself, so I can't really say too much. But yeah, I love the idea of zipping around the small ships. I hope you can bring that back in a different form with the Dangia. So personally, that's going to be the one that I'm going to keep my eyes on.
Great, and I see a lot of Galleon in the chat. And actually, I think when we announced or teased Galleon on socials, we've had the most reactions that we've ever had when we shared a tease of the ship. So
yeah, I'm not surprised. I think that was really, really highly anticipated. So well, it's coming on the week, guys.
Yes, May 12th, so stay tuned for that one. So, Jeremy, with the new ships, more customized playstyle with the skill tree, and also greater difficulty across the game, there's definitely even stronger focus on the loadouts and builds, right? So, Year 3 gives players even more variety when it comes to your own playstyle. So, maybe you can share more about the new builds, equipments we're introducing in Year 3, and what community can expect.
Okay. So similar to how we're doing with the ships, we also want to plug some of the gaps with the equipment that we're releasing, especially the weapons. So we are going to be releasing quite a few new weapons with Year 3 Season 1, Year 3 Season 2 to fill some of these gaps. We're going to have weapons like the Atma's Toll. This is going to be a lifesteal demi-cannon, so obviously it's going to pair very well with the Galleon and all of its gun ports. It's going to synergize with it to deal high burst damage and also help keep the Galleon alive. We have things like the Breaker, which is going to be a new epic flooding mortar. It's going to allow players to slow and deal additional damage against flooded targets. So for anyone who's always been annoyed that we have to use things like the Leopold for flooding damage on Brigantine, this will be something you can upgrade to. We also have a Legio. That's going to be a piercing spring loader that has a chance to apply instant punctured. So something to really support the team with and apply the punctured status effect in the AoE. And later down the year, we'll have things like the Flooding Demi-Cannon, Poison Bombard to help make, to apply poison and the poison status effect and the toxic damage in a large AoE. Burning Explosive Culverins. We'll be looking at also pairing some of these elements together to play into some of the elemental, to try to like merge some of these elements together, similar like how we've done with the furnitures. With the Burning Explosive Culverin, that could be even something that might bring back things like the Barge, which I'm not sure if anyone has been playing the Barge recently.
Cool. All right. So thank you so much, Jeremy, for this breakdown. It's all about having your ship, building it to your own play style, but there's also one aspect of the game that is simply about looking cool on using the vantages that you like. And in Year 3, one of our key focuses is also when it comes to the playstyle, but also how you choose to show up on the Indian Ocean. It's giving the variety. So if it's from darker, grittier part fantasy to a classic Captain look, there's going to be a lot more that you can expect. And with that, I think we can move to the next segment of our stream, which is the cosmetic direction for the Year 3. But before that, let's take a look at what's coming with the Smuggler Pass in Year 3 Season 1. All right, chat. So it's been already an hour since we're streaming, and thank you so much for still being with us. I hope you're enjoying this time. And actually, I'm seeing a lot of questions or mentions of cheese, and this is the person who can actually answer that. Hi, John. How are you doing today?
Hello. Nice to see you guys again.
Welcome back. You were here last stream. Welcome back again.
Yes, I was here.
Yeah.
Now I'm back.
Yeah. So
What's up?
we've talked about ships, about progression, about difficulty scaling, and I said there's also just aspect of just simply looking cool, right? That's how you want to show up, and from epic ship skins to cosmetics. So as I said, we're giving more variety. So John, we've already shared a sneak peek of the epic ship skin coming in Year 3 Season 1, but maybe you can give us a bit more details about how this fantasy came together.
Okay, so Year 3 Season 1, that's the Devourer ship skin. Okay,
Yes.
might be the dev name. I'm not so sure what's renamed, but this is it.
Yes.
And I did this painting. Yeah, so the idea behind this is how do we the fantasy behind is like we want what is the most aggressive pirate ship on the Indian Ocean look like. So we explored a bunch of ideas, and what we came to is that we want this to be very closely related to the fire perk. So we created a ship with a full metal hull, something that works with fire. I'm not sure if people can get it, but we were also looking quite closely at Lord of the Rings, Gron, the giant wolf head battering ram. Love that movie. So the big inspiration from there. So
I wonder,
yeah.
Neo, if we can see how it looks in the game.
Yeah,
Because we have the latest build.
3D look even better. Thank you, Neo.
And actually, Neo is the one who works on a 3D.
Yep. So this is it. Look better on 3D, I think.
Cool.
So the head is modeled after our own Tylosaurus. Yeah, try to keep it in the Indian Ocean.
Actually, when we've teased this on socials, a lot of people thought it's a new boss.
I want it to be a boss ship as well. So let's hope that comes. I will be pushing for that. I get a thumbs up from Sam, so we'll work on that together. Sam is my co-conspirator.
So we got a thumbs up from Sam. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So now maybe we can, if you can, maybe you can give us a little bit of a sneak peek into what's the rest of the lineup for the Year 3, starting with the Year 3 Season 2.
Okay. Yeah, no problem. So chat don't need to sign NDA, right? I just say.
Yeah.
Okay, for Season 2, we're gonna come with the dev name is Paladin Bug, right? So we're gonna have a ship skin for a bug. There it is. So the idea behind this is like, do all cursed pirates need to be dark and gritty? I don't think so, right? What happens to a pirate that is lost at sea? And in order to survive, you have to make a deal with the sea seraph. What if you're cursed to save others but not yourself? Right, so this is a push in a different direction, and we still want to keep it, piratey. Yeah. So let us know what you feel about this design. Maybe Neo and I can take a look to, try to put your feedback in. Yeah. So this is gonna be a lot more polished. One of our art direction pillars is the mega corporation style, but this style is not say you need to be military, but we're talking about the polish, the shininess of the mega corp, that extravagance, and that's what we're trying to do here. Yeah.
What do you think about the reaction in the chat? I think people are quite excited about this one.
Nice.
Let's see what they say about the next one, which is our ship skin that's planned for Year 3 Season 3,
So
right?
Roro Noah Dolo say, nice, can we get an all black hull for the galley? Yeah, you can. Also now we have all black Corvette ship skin. So I think this is the ornaments on the ship skin. I think the next slide they will show the actual ship itself. So this is gonna go back. I've always liked the classical look of the ship, so this is something that I'm very excited about, to have a Corvette ship skin that looks very more classical. And the idea for this is, we're going somewhere in between the pirate core fantasy and mega corporation. It looks polished, but this guy, a good guy. A captain who has made a deal, with death itself. So you can see that we have one human sculpture that will be in the center, and all these skeleton sculptures all pointing towards a human, right? To represent our mortality. Death will come for us all. And this ship, so evil that it suck all the color out. I always wanted a full black ship, so now we have it. Yay!
Year 3 Season 3. Stay tuned.
Yeah.
All right, John, beyond the epic ship skins, there's also Captain Vanity items, right? So
Yes.
if we can ask Jin to roll some of the vanity items, and you can walk us through them, John?
Yep. So these are a collection mostly from Season 1 and Season 2. I won't tell you exactly when. You can play the game and find out. So these are what we have. So you can see the art direction, I would say, from Year 1 to Year 2, we went from something that's a little bit more colorful, more stylistic, and we are grounding it. And then for Year 3, we are continuing what we have for Year 2, but we're gonna try to finesse the layers a little bit more. So you can see things, we have 4 main pillars, right, in terms of the thematics. So number 1, we must always have a pirate core. Right. Number 2, which is our most popular thematic, is dark fantasy. So you can see we do lean into that. but we also don't want to, you know, forget the, you know, the main identity, which is pirate. So we come back, right? So we're looking at ways how we can extend this pirate, you know, core fantasy. So we are trying out a new thematic. We call it right now the rockstar attitude, right? Because that's what pirates are. You are basically, you know, the king of the lawless land, right? And you carry yourself with a rockstar attitude. So you can see how we're trying to inject that visually into some of the assets. Yeah, and lastly, specific to the Indian Ocean, we want to have something that's a bit more localized. So we're trying a little bit of a East meets West kind of vibe. Yeah. And we try to play with the different levers. There could be a cursed pirate who is also East meets West. Yeah. So I see something about hook hand. Yes, hook hand coming. Yeah.
Yeah, they're excited about that. So I think everything that we've showed today, it's kind of reflects again what we've been saying throughout the stream. It's about giving variety to the players, right?
Yes.
When it comes to cosmetic, playstyle, okay, the chat is excited. And last but not least, John, the very serious question I have here. So what's with the cheese and Hippo nuggets
What's
in
with the
your
cheese?
tree?
Yeah, what's up with the cheese? Cheese is coming. You know, I think some very popular with the chat, and yeah, no, I give it. So cheese coming.
Can we say when?
Season 2, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, if delay, I'm sorry, but I don't think cheese will have delay. It's cheese, you know. Hippo Nugget Season 3, I can say that, Season 3. Yeah, but we do have you know, some Easter eggs that we put into the game, right? I also, coming in Season 2, there will be a coconut man. You can try to find him. If you find him, you'll be rewarded. Yeah, things like that.
Yeah, so in year 2, we're adding some fun stuff as well, right?
Yes, yeah. La Pez milk.
Okay, now we're gonna have some
Oh
wild
my
ideas.
gosh, yeah. This guy is almost as crazy as me. Why not, right?
Right. Cool.
Yeah.
People are kind of, I think, teased about coconut man. They're like, what it is?
Coconut man, yes.
You'll find out soon. All right. Thanks so much, John, for this breakdown.
Thank you.
But before we wrap up, so this was the 4 main sections of our stream today. But before, there's one more thing that we want to share today. So last year in November, we've had a chance to bring our most dedicated players, community members here to Singapore to actually share the direction, the plans that we have for Skull and Bones. And we've had this like one-on-one nice workshops, and a lot of conversation that we've in topics that we've shared today was actually kind of built on those conversations we've had during the workshop. So before we close things off, let's take a quick look at how that workshop went.
It's more than I could have ever imagined, essentially, and I'm excited for all of it.
It's going to surprise a lot of people, and it'll bring so many more players back to the game.
Some members of our community have been supporting us and the work we've been doing on the game since way before the official launch. They've been given access to the game very early on, have seen it in many different forms, and it's thanks to their feedback that the game has become what it is today.
Well, I first started playing Skull and Bones in closed beta.
First time I crossed the open seas in my little dinky little badar, right? It was breathtaking, but it was also bloody terrifying.
This is something I want to do. Instead of just being running around, I want to have this pirate ship.
Ships are amazing, and just the way it looked, the graphics were out of this world to me.
I can't explain it. But it's taken me away from being that person of platinum trophy. Once I've got it, I don't play again. And when I started to play Skull and Bones and I finally achieved the platinum trophy, something about the game was just captivated me to keep playing. The beauty of the game, the graphics, the way everything looks off the ocean.
That was my first impression coming into the game, and it was like, this game looks amazing.
I think what drives me the most is seeing how the game evolves. The ability to see the resonance of how people react to certain changes, that like you've potentially even helped go into the right direction, is what is really exciting.
Being able to be a small part of making the game into what it is and its future. some of the ideas or even just small changes that I've proposed in the Insider and the Keeper program, seeing that make that enter the live game, I don't know, it's just a point of pride.
They've been alongside the development, like the step through everything, like how things have changed in that, like, you know, and how their support and their knowledge has, you know, made this game grow.
It's always been very important for us to bring our most engaged players and our insiders who've been part of the journey from the very beginning in order to show them what's next and of course get their thoughts on our plans for year 3. We pick those players very carefully based on their playtime, the deep understanding they have of the game, how active they are within the broader community. Our goal is always to make sure we have a very strong alignment between our vision for the future and what the community really wants. What really stands out from those conversations is how open they are about the things that they are really passionate about, but also other things where we might disagree on. At the end of the day, it's something that we're building together with the community, for the community.
Workshop was just riveting. I've had so much fun. I've learned so much about the game that I didn't even know about. And I thought I knew everything about the game already, so this has been just amazing.
From what I've heard, very exciting and heading very much in a community direction.
Coming to this workshop and seeing just how grand and like you're forward thinking those plans were. I'm sitting here like there is so much planned and so much they want to bring to this game.
There should be a lot of things coming together that should excite players of all different interests.
For me, is the quality of life changes, the UI, the UX. What I've seen, it's amazing. It's a world of a difference.
One thing that for me that was the most unexpected was the Galleon. It's coming.
I like that the workshops give us a direct connection to the devs. I know that outside of this room, people don't see the work that goes into the game.
Seeing the thought and design process all behind the scenes, I think, is probably been my favorite part, and the effort that gets put into the game. I like seeing how the game is made and just how passionate the team is.
The workshops are pretty intense. It's a lot of like, and in a good way. These are like very open and honest conversations between the developers, the players, the keepers, and the insiders. And that's what I truly love about it. Like no suggestion, like no discussion is left like unexplored. It really matters to have that conversation with the devs.
Being able to actually talk to the developers themselves. It's not just us giving feedback, it's them also like coming back to us and saying, these are the reasons we do this, this is the reasons we don't do this. And, you know, even to the point where some of the times we've even had where we were like, you know, they'll go, oh, what do you think about this? And we're like, oh, that's cool, but you know, it would be cooler if that, and you watch their faces light up because it gives them that, like, you know, you could see the ideas that they suddenly could have. Because they're like, oh, that's something that we might not have looked at.
My favorite moment from the last couple of years is probably seeing how people at the studio, developers, evolved over time as well and like grew with the project together.
If I could say one thing to the Skull and Bones community, it would be have a little patience because the game is going to blow your mind.
Wow, there is so much coming. It's goosebumps.
All right, I hope you enjoyed watching that video. And actually, I think a lot of people who were in that video might be with us during this stream now in the live chat. So anyway, we've covered a lot today and hope you enjoyed being with us. And I have Alexi back now.
Hi, I'm back.
How are you feeling after?
I'm good. I had a little break to talk about what we're showing with a few people on Discord, so that was fun.
Cool. So Alexi, looking at everything that we've shared today, right? What would you say the biggest message or takeaway that players should take from this stream about the direction that we're taking Skull and Bones?
Yeah, so there's quite a lot that was explained, and I think a lot of it will still need to be played by a lot of players for it to really make sense. Yeah. But I think the key message is that our roadmap for year 3 was redesigned with the idea to focus on the main reason why most of our players fell in love with Skull and Bones in the first place, which is the naval combat, the sailing and naval combat. So that's the core foundation of the game. It's always been the core foundation in the game. And that will remain the core foundation of the game. No matter which direction we take, no matter what we add to the game, we need to ensure that this core foundation of sailing and engaging in naval combat remains fun and engageable and enjoyable, for our players. So to that extent, I think a lot of the features and a lot of new content that we're adding in year 3 are designed basically with the goal to reinforce that core gameplay loop. So increasing the variety, making sure there's always a new challenge for you to tackle, and making sure there's a very clear way for you to progress with every season so that you gain more power in order to defeat the next level of challenge. So the world tiers, the seasonal journey, and the new ships, they've all been designed basically together to bring that new level of excitement for players with every season. In addition to that, and that's something you will see all of you very soon when we show the assets, is that we're changing, sorry, wait, what?
I just want to ask Jin to pull out the roadmap so
Yes.
they know the idea is.
So yes, that's what I wanted to talk about. We're also changing the approach on the way we communicate about things for this year, right? So we've learned a lot, like I said, from year 2, and we want to make sure that we are more comfortable not only to deliver all the features that we want to deliver to our players, but also adjust and adapt based on community feedback. So community feedback, we've said it from the beginning, has always been very important. But this time, because we are not committing to a very strict release schedule for every season, we have more room to adjust. Yes. So season 1 obviously is happening next week, so that's happening for sure. But where we go beyond that is going to be heavily influenced by the community. So let us know what you think about all the things we presented today and all the things you'd like us to maybe change or adjust or consider for the future. Same thing for year 4 and year 5. We have many years to continue to improve on and build upon the foundations that we're building together. So quite excited about all the feedback that we're going to receive and the direction we're taking in the future.
Yes, and the chat is going crazy about Bertrand and Hubak twins after
As usual.
all we've shared today. All right, chat. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a great hour and almost half. We hope we continue sailing with us, share your feedback, and help shape the future of Skull and Bones. We hope you're looking forward to the season launch on May 12th, which is next Tuesday. Yes.
Yes, correct.
So take some time to digest everything that we've shared today. And if you have more questions, as I mentioned earlier, we'll be hosting an AMA tomorrow, led by Alexi
Yes.
on Reddit. What's the exact time for tomorrow?
So it's 11 a.m. Singapore time, which I think is 8 p.m. Pacific time.
Okay.
So the reason we're doing an AMA is also to give a chance for all of you who are based in America to tune in and ask your own questions. Right? We know this timing is not great for people in the US or in North America. So we're giving you the chance to watch all that content tomorrow when you wake up or later today. And then if you have follow-up questions, come on Reddit, come and ask her. All the people you've seen on the stream today will be with us as well. So they'll be able to give you more details and explain anything that you might not have fully understood yet.
Yes.
I also need to do some damage control with our insiders. They're probably going to ask me, why is cheese coming before Hippo nuggets? So I'm going to have a chat with you, John.
All right. So anyway, thank you so much for joining again. Make sure to join the community AMA tomorrow and bring in your questions. For those who are still waiting to claim the drops, we're going to run the stream about 30 minutes more, I think, so you guys are able to claim it. But for now, again, thank you so much for joining and see you next time. Bye-bye.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.